It's nice
Steve,
meeting you again.
yeah, it's great to see you. You know, people just love your content. And I couldn't, we were studying the other day and you said such a beautiful thing about the Jewish people being one and that we're all one all over the world. And, a lot of people say it, but I thought you really meant it. So what's your feelings about us being one people? Like there's such friction. Are we really one? What do you think? I mean, what's the story?
This is honestly what I really honestly believe. I remember meeting a guy at a party, and
Yeah.
some people are more religious than other people.
Yeah.
And I hand him a yarmulke, and I walk around. I hand out the yarmulkes, and he says, "I said, why didn't you put it on?" Because he put it next to his meal. I said, "Put the yarmulke on."
Yeah.
And he said, "Why? Why should I put the yarmulke on?" And I said to him, "It's really important to put the yarmulke on. And the reason you need to put the yarmulke on is because not only is it a mitzvah, for you to have the yarmulke on, but it's also a mitzvah for all the Jews. Every time a Jew does a mitzvah, it's a protection angel for all of us, for every Jew."
Wow.
And not only is it a protection angel for all of us,
Yeah.
but it also protects Israel and makes Israel stronger. When someone does something that's not a mitzvah,
Yeah.
it weakens the Jewish community. Not only does it weaken that person, but
Yeah.
it weakens all the Jews. We're all one. I remember a story that was told to me about two Jews in a boat. And a lot of people have heard that story. There are two Jews in a boat, and one Jew is making a hole in the boat. And the other Jew says, "What are you doing? You're going to sink the boat."
Yeah.
And he says, "That's my side of the boat.
Yeah.
That's my side of the boat." No, we're all in the same boat. When the Israel Defense Force was in Gaza, attacking Gaza,
Yeah.
well, not attacking Gaza, was defending the Jewish state. And the French Arabs were attacking the Jews in France.
Right.
Why were the Arabs attacking the Jews in France? The Jews in France have absolutely nothing to do with the Israeli Defense Force in Gaza.
Right.
But they knew that we're all one family.
Interesting.
I remember, and you could probably tell the story better than I could, is when the Rabbino said, "Put on the tefillin," and the tefillin campaign, and how it protects everybody. Why don't you talk about that? Because you know more about that than I do.
So first of all, the Rebbe definitely believed that each one of us, when we say our prayers, we say them communally. So we say, Ashavnu, we sinned. It's like, why are we talking about we? And when we're asking God for help, we say, Baruch Aleinu, bless us. So a lot of people, I would imagine other religions are praying individually. We're praying communally. So that's an interesting thing. But, I could get a little scholarly, but I actually want to ask you an interesting question, if I may be, as they call it, a devil's advocate, which I don't know if that's okay in a Jewish context. What makes you so sure that this prayer thing, that one person makes a prayer, you said it makes a protective angel, and it affects us all? So what makes you so sure of that?
It's a really easy answer for a Jew. I don't think a non-Jew would understand that.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a little explanation of what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I was walking in Tangiers with a bunch of non-Jews, and we were walking together outside, and I see a guy walking towards me. He doesn't have payas, he doesn't have a yarmulke, he doesn't have a beard. He looks like another guy. But for some reason, I felt that he was Jewish.
Uh-huh.
So as he was walking by,
yeah,
I said, "Shalom." And he said, "Shalom." And we both smiled and we spoke to each other. And I don't know, maybe we spent 2 or 3 minutes together. and the bonding was real. The bonding was honestly real. And then he walked off and I walked with the Gentiles, the non-Jews. And they said, "Wow, it's a small world." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" They said, "You met somebody that you didn't know, that you met somebody that you knew." And I said, "I've never met him before." And they said, "But when you met each other, you both smiled. There was a rapport that you knew each other forever." And I said, "He's Jewish." To another Jew, that makes a lot of sense. To a non-Jew, that doesn't make any sense at all. And to answer your question, it's from within. We know, no matter who we're sitting with at the dinner table or something, they're all our families. We just never met them yet.
Right.
Or maybe actually we did meet them a long time ago and we don't recognize them. We met them at Mount Sinai.
Wow. Wow. So the Rebbe actually says something appropriate to what you're saying. And the Rebbe says that Hashem made it when two Jews meet, there's a special feeling. And it's so true. You know, I remember walking, I think I was in Denmark. And again, like I had a little cap on, like I didn't look identical. I was young then, I didn't have a beard or anything. But we were like walking across the street and we could just tell we were Jewish and we just had that bond. And so, you know, I think what's really critical is this is a line that I have, and I think it applies to marriage, and I think it applies to this bond. I think that God brings us together, but whether we stay together is up to us. So what would you suggest on how to maintain that bond? You know, unfortunately, when the rockets fall in Gaza, I'm a rabbi here in Kansas City. I had a guy every day, he was coming, he's putting on tefillin. He's doing that mitzvah. But how do we maintain it? Not when we're, Einstein, who was a very staunch believer in God and a Zionist, he said at the Warsaw Ghetto Memorial a very profound thing. He said, the Holocaust, I may not be quoting exactly, but the content is correct. So the Holocaust reminds us that the petty differences between us are just that. So we're very good at supporting each other in times of crisis. But the goal, of course, is to support each other in times of joy. So what would be your suggestion on how we can just be friends and just build our community and build Israel and work together for a greater cause in good times?
We have to love our fellow Jew, no matter if we understand them or we don't even believe what they believe, because some Jews don't believe anything that the other person believes.
Right.
But we have to understand that we're all family.
Right.
And when we're all together, we have to compromise and find feelings of great things. Living in Nicaragua, we have 8, 12 maybe Jews. Some are Reform, some are not even believe they're Jews, but they were born Jews. Some people are Orthodox, some people. And when we get together, we have to love each other because we have to realize that we're all one family.
Right.
And that's the most important thing is to love your fellow Jew as you love yourself.
Right.
And you just have to do it. You just do it. Even if you don't like what the guy represents.
Right.
Or whatever, you have to love him because he's part of your family. Right. No matter what. We're all going into the Holocaust together. We're all suffering together. It doesn't matter if he believes what I believe or what I believe that he doesn't believe.
Right.
We're all in the Holocaust together.
Yeah.
We're all one. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
So there is no choice of, I don't like him, or I don't. No. If I want them to do the mitzvahs, and if they're not, then maybe I could talk them into it.
Yeah.
But if they're not, they're all hurting us. The
Right.
stronger your religious belief is, the stronger you could continue on.
Right.
It's important to love your fellow man as you love yourself.
Right.
I really believe that, honestly, I know this is going a different direction.
Sure.
But my feeling is that every time you look at somebody,
Yeah.
and it says, love your fellow man as you love yourself, or whatever it says, I really believe that Hashem has programmed us, and that person that we're looking at is really us.
Wow.
It's really us in some dimension of our
Wow.
personality or something. Because I remember you saying, and other rabbis saying, that if you hate that person, it's because, or you despise that person, it's because you see something in them
Yeah.
that's part of you.
Right.
I really believe that we're not judged just up in heaven, but we're judged here. That every person that we see is a reflection of our personality.
Yeah.
So every time you have a conversation with somebody, always remember to end it in a good note.
Right.
And not to hate that person.
Right.
Because that person actually is you. That's really what I believe.
That's very profound, and it's true. It's very true. Yeah, maybe expound on that a little bit, because, I mean, a very famous teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, which of course Carl Jung, great psychologist, came up with, but later understood that the Baal Shem Tov predated him, was the idea of mirrors. So what you see in someone else is actually a reflection of yourself, because really, if you think about it, we're all so multifaceted. There's such a range within everyone. So what you're seeing in the other person, you're seeing kind of, God forbid, evil, you're seeing good. In a way, it's a reflection of what you're looking for. Now, sometimes in life, we're angry, and what we're seeing is giving us an excuse to act in a certain way. Sometimes we're afraid, so we see danger. That's giving us basically a excuse to stay away, to protect ourselves. Sometimes they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder and love is blind. So sometimes we're like, we want relationships. So we see all this beauty and people will say, well, the guy's nuts. But your mind, in a way, is a reflection of your own emotional kind of state. So what are your thoughts on that?
That we're put in different situations
Yeah.
to test us.
Interesting.
And the reason we're being tested is so we could overcome and go to another level.
Right.
But we need to be tested at this level.
Yeah.
So Hashem puts us in different tests.
Right.
And he says, okay, you're weak in this. So I'm going to show you this situation. You have to overcome it.
Right.
And every time I see a situation, I have to overcome it. So every time I see somebody, I have to appreciate them.
Right.
Because they're sent to me.
Right.
So I should appreciate the situation. If it's a bad situation, you have to turn it around. Be proactive instead of reactive.
Right.
And you have to say, okay, this person is doing this. I have to show love in this situation. And that's how you overcome that situation. And it gets harder and harder because you're getting tested over and over and over. And I know for myself, I go, it used to be easier a month ago, or yesterday was easier. And now it's getting harder. And I'm getting mad. I'm like living in two different worlds. One world is a religious world, and the next world I'm dipped into the real world, or the world that I see, and I'm being tested. And I look back at the situations, And I go, I didn't do really good in that situation. I shouldn't have responded that way. And then I go, okay, I have to think about that. Why did I respond that way? And then the next time I go, okay, this is an easier situation. It's an easier test. And I really have to love your fellow man as you love yourself. And that's really what I believe. I believe that that mirror or that situation is me, and I'm being tested now.
Wow.
Does that
So
make
if
sense?
if we thought about how everybody we interacted with was actually a part of our soul, which, by the way, is a very important way to come to love, because that's the truth. We're actually one soul, and we're just different parts of the same soul. Just like the body has many parts. My hand is me, my head is me, my nose is me, my heart is me. And the same thing is on a soul level. We're different expressions of kind of basically God. Were expressions of what's called Adam Kadmon, or Adam Arishan, the first man. He had within him all of our souls, and we may be an expression of, let's say, the heel, which is the ability to kind of march on. We may be the Torah scholar, the ability to think very well. So we are all parts of the same unit, which first of all is very important in terms of coming to love, because love is about believing that the other is you. So understanding that the other is you, it's just that they have a certain quality that you don't have, and you have a quality that they don't have. And therefore, for that very reason, they can teach you something. And the Mishnah says you should learn something from everyone you meet. So every circumstance is a lesson. Now, in terms of this concept of basically everyone you meet is you, I think one of the greatest teachings of love is the last teaching of the Rebbe. And it's all about love and unity. In fact, love is all about unity. And he says a beautiful thing. Sometimes basically we're hurt and we're trying to protect ourselves. So what we do is we sort of disconnect from humanity, but we still may be very smart, and we may even be very spiritual. And in fact, we may get too spiritual. We're like totally God frenzied. But what happens is when God looks down at the situation, imagine a parent, and he has a child. And the child says, I love you, Tati. I love you, Mommy. I love, love, love. But meanwhile, the parent's thinking, what about your brothers and sisters? Don't you love them? So the same thing is when Hashem looks down at us, he wants us to be in unity with our fellow man. And one of the ways we do this is by understanding that if God's going to look down at you and you're not friendly with others, he's going to see not a complete person. You're not complete. If you are a person that knows how to get along and loves people, then he's going to see the unit as a whole. That's why we say, Barcheinu Avinu Kulanu Kecha, bless us all as one. Because when we're all one, we bring down that blessing. That says the kli, the vehicle to bring down God's blessing is unity. Because you're much greater than the individual. Now you've got this collective soul, which is unified all its parts, and it's this beautiful, beautiful soul. So I forgot exactly the question that you asked me. I went on to a bit of a monologue there, but yeah, if you have any other thoughts on the subject or questions.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. So I think that what you've brought out, which is the importance of realizing that we're one, and this I would say on a Kabbalistic level, we really are one. In fact, there's only one. There's only God. And he's manifested himself into all of us, which is really the truth, because everything is just a single energy, and the different bodies are just the receivers of that different energy. And that may even go even lower onto the animal level, the plant level, even the rock level. It's all kind of parts of the same energy. And because we're shaped in different ways, or because we're meant to be different people or different parts of this universe, so we have different expressions of that infinite energy. But what's really critical to realize is that when we understand that we're meant, and this is, I think, so important, we're meant to be different. We're not meant to be the same. And if God wanted us to all be the same, he could have made us like ants. They're all the same. But he wanted us, it says, just as people's faces differ, their opinions differ. He wanted people to have independent thought. He wanted them to come up like I'm interviewing you, even though I'm a rabbi and I have a bit of knowledge, but you have something beautiful that you could add. And I have something that I can share. So we all, and particularly if somebody has an expertise, well, let's say he's a doctor or whatever it is, we all have something. And this is very important to say as well, because unfortunately, feminism took a line where they were basically imitating kind of masculinity. But really, what a woman can do is unique. No man can do what a woman can do. Maybe a woman can imitate a man, but a man certainly can't give birth. They don't have that capacity. I know my wife went out of town for 2 weeks. I was like going ballistic, and that was with food in the fridge and taking the kids out for supper. It's just my mind can't handle dealing with all of that. It's just not built for that. So women have this amazing ability not only to bear children, but to bear them, to be able to handle them and to do it with love and the whole family. So by celebrating what's special about the way God made you and the mission that you have, we suddenly realize we're all in collaboration. A Jew is meant to be a godly creature. A Gentile is meant to live an ethical life. And together we make the world a beautiful place. And this is really the whole story of seeing how we're complementary. So I want to say that I thank you very much. I think what the insights that you shared, particularly coming from the heart, they say words that come from the heart enter the heart. And so that's why we're focused on. We had some nice feedback on the videos, and I hope other people enjoy the videos. And what's your final message?
It's kind of really simple and also very hard, is to love everybody, respect everybody. And whatever you're seeing is really a reflection of you. And be happy and be good. And I think that's all that we're supposed to be. Everything else falls in place.
Yeah.
Everything, be good and be happy, and whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen, no matter what. And just go along with the flow.
I'm with that 100%. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.